right, today is going to be a subject about school shootings. I didn't pick out all of them. I decided to pick out four of uh, of the school shooters. This is a subject that I really don't want to talk about, but I'm going to get into it. And let's just start between these four people. 57 people were killed. There were 43 injuries and 20 kids total that were 6 or 7 years old. A lot of these people were teenagers, getting ready to go to college, finishing high school, ready to go to prom, homecomings, have your games, sports, and just they missed out on teen life, which is, the best times of your life and adulthood. And these 20 kids, missed out on, could be birthdays, growing up playing sports, getting to middle school, high school, having fun, just enjoying life and getting that experience. And it's unfortunate that their lives were cut short. So first we're going to get into the Columbine shooters. With Columbine, these shooters were 18 years old. They killed 13 people and injured 24. Now, I know they were 18 years old, seniors, and they were believed to be bullied a lot. I know before they mentioned Marilyn Manson and maybe Eminem causing this because of the music and everything, which, I do feel like music does have an effect on your life and your well-being. I try to stay away from negative music. This took place on 4/20/1999, and 4/20 is a significant date to them because it is Hitler's birthday, which is crazy that they would even look up to him. So with them being bullied, they probably, developed mental issues from that, probably had very low self-esteem. I don't understand how their parents didn't catch it. I believe Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris had a diary, and they talked about building bombs and when they're going to shoot up a school and how they're going to do it. And I don't know as a parent how you can't catch that. They wore black trench coats to school almost every day, if not every day. I think when you start getting depressed, having anxiety, you're going to notice that your kids are changing. They're not going to be interested in going out as much. Although Eric and Dylan were, each other's best friends. So they did kind of, and I know they had other friends. I remember it was Dylan or Eric who told them, hey, you don't look good, you should go home today. Or something bad's gonna happen, so go home. And the kid did. But it's just crazy how a parent couldn't notice if they're disinterested in something, maybe staying in the room a little longer. But I just don't get how they're building bombs. Obviously they're blowing them up somewhere. So I think the parents really failed at that. I don't know much about Eric Harris and his parents. I don't believe they did a lot of interviews. If they did an interview, I just know his dad was in the military and they did a lot of traveling. Were they picked on, or was Eric Harris picked on? going to like elementary school, switching all the time because your dad's moving. It was probably hard on them. I I totally think this could have been prevented, and I know like they ordered the I think anarchy cookbook and that teaches you how to build bombs. So that, I mean, that's crazy in itself. And I know they were like upper middle class, I would consider Columbine. And just crazy, you know, they couldn't buy guns. I know they had a friend that would go somewhere and get guns for them. And it's sad. But I really think their parents could have did something about it. It was ignored. These unfortunate acts happened. And I know Rachel Scott was their first victim, and they asked her if she believed in God, and shot her. And before they shot her, they told her to go live with their God then. And that's wow. I mean, it breaks my heart to see, you know, 13 people killed in this massacre and 24 injured. So, I don't know. One more thing I'm going to talk about is Craig Scott, which is Rachel Scott's brother. And I think it's awesome that he forgave Dylan and Eric. I don't think I could do that, but I think he needed to get he needed to get the hatred off of him. He's a wise man. I know he goes around the country and talks to schools about school shooters and how it affected him. I believe he's done counseling, you know, maybe to get over it, but he still lives through Rachel. So that's an awesome story to hear about. That's a kind of, I mean, it's a positive out of that situation, but that being the first school shooting ever in America, I think that definitely from there could avoid these, you would think it would avoid these future school shootings, but apparently in America we just forget, and it's crazy to me. So we're going to take a moment of silence, and up here I'm going to post the people who unfortunately were murdered, and we'll take a moment of silence for them. Now we're going to talk about the Sandy Hook massacre, school shooting. I call it a massacre. It's Adam Lanza. He was 20 years old. He injured 2 people and killed 26, 20 of them being kids that are 6 or 7 years old. I have a 7-year-old daughter. I couldn't even imagine what the parents are feeling. I mean, these kids had a whole life to live for. Crazy. I know his mom was hard on him. He was diagnosed with Asperger's, anxiety, depression, and OCD. He was into guns. I mean, his mom even purchased guns for him. I know, I believe he could not carry a pistol, but he could carry a rifle. I believe that's the law there. A day before he did it, he had an altercation with 4 of the staff members at Sandy Hook. He ended up killing 2 of them, injuring 1 of them, and the other one was off that day, fortunately. I know when they did research into his hard drive that he actually smashed, he was looking up other school shootings that I'm not going to cover, But it's unfortunate events, and rest in peace to all of them that suffered from the school shootings. It's just crazy. His mom would purchase some guns knowing that, you know, he's suffering from anxiety, depression, and just, hey, here you go, son. Before he did this, after the altercation, you know, the next day, he killed his mom and then went on the massacre to Sandy Hook, which is nuts. But like I said, when they found his hard drive that he smashed, he was obsessed with school shootings, and especially the Columbine, which, you know, those are all copycat. That's a copycat killer, and I believe the other ones probably were too. You could just find so much information on it, and that's why I don't understand why we didn't do anything about this. I believe this remember after watching this on the news and just being sick to my stomach that some evil person could do this, and having Alex Jones say it's a conspiracy, and now he's coming out on news saying, oh, it's 100% real, because he got all that backlash. Well, he's a fucking idiot. I'm just here to say that. And I don't understand. Like, I know Adam Alonzo was homeschooled, and he wasn't allowed to go to regular school, but I think eventually he was again, and he would just sit in his room and play video games all day. His dad went on an interview and said, yeah, I lost touch with my son, and he probably would have killed me too. Well, why weren't you communicating with your wife? If a kid is sitting inside all day, and I know his mom was hard on him, and that was publicly announced, but why aren't you getting this kid into a treatment facility? I know hospitals only hold you for maybe 72 hours, and, you know, they diagnose you and just get you right out. So in that time, why aren't you finding them counselors, getting them on medicine? You know, they need psychiatrists. I think his parents really dropped the ball on that, and forgiving your son who has mental illness a way to have guns. That's crazy, ridiculous. And like, these unfortunate events, this one really hurts because they're 26 or 7-year-old kids. Just think about that. I'm gonna show you these pictures right here of all the victims, and I want you guys to take a moment of silence for them and say, fuck you, Alex Jones. Now we're gonna talk about the Parkland school shootings, and that would be Nicholas Cruz, who was 19 at the time. I know his father passed away when he was 5 years old, and he was diagnosed with developmentally delayed. He also had ADHD and OCD, also suffered from depression. I believe his mom did a lot for him, actually. At 13 years old, he had 26 disciplinary actions. So his mom or counselor, school counselor, or whoever made a right decision by sending him to a psychiatric school from 8th grade to 10th grade, and they deemed him okay after 10th grade. They probably shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I mean, he should have stayed in, but, you know, they probably thought, hey, his mental health is fine. In 2016, he threatened to shoot up a school and posted a picture of a gun held to his head, and posted that on Instagram of threatening to shoot up a school. And that was February of 2016. February 28th of 2016, 4 days after, I believe, his 18th birthday, he ingested gas and was cutting himself and wanted to go buy a gun to hurt himself or others. I know that is publicly noted. I know he was seeing a counselor and psychiatrist and taking his medicines. That was duly noted. On January 19th of 2017, he caught a assault charge, commented on a YouTube post that he plans to be a school shooter. That should be a red flag right there. I believe the FBI got involved in it and then just completely dropped it. And at that time, I believe he was 19 years old. And that's unfortunately when his mother passed away. So that probably had a huge effect on him. Knowing that you don't have a mother or father, you have a little brother, just makes fun of you. I know he moved in with family friends, ended up getting into a fight with one of them, and told him he was going to get his gun to shoot him. So they immediately called the cops and kicked him out. And I know from Broward County Sheriff's Office, they were tipped off, I believe, by a family member or friend about Cruz posting on social media that he wanted to kill himself and planned to shoot up a school. So, I mean, this is a huge timeline going on. I don't know if his family friends or whoever was watching him were still had him on a regimen of health care for his mental health with seeing a psychiatrist, counselor. They do have in-house programs that will keep you. These are just all facts to help people with. On January 5th of 2018, so this is when he was 19 years old, the FBI was actually tipped off by a family member that he has desire to shoot up a school and harm himself. So I'm not sure if the FBI took it lightly because he's made so many threats and didn't go with it. But right here, I mean, they should be able to file a charge or do something. So they have an act in Florida that's called the Baker Act. And that's when you involuntarily go to like a hospital or something like that to get mental evaluation. And you can't do anything about it. And they always deemed him okay. So I'm not sure, like, he obviously figured out a way to play the system. And I think the Baker Act needs to be a little stronger. But in Florida, it's like the Wild Wild West, in my opinion. But that's another subject for another time. Like a month later, on February 14th, I believe that's always when Valentine's Day comes around, he killed 17 people and injured 17 people, 14 students, 3 staff members. And it's just crazy. Like, in 2018, so let's think about that. That's 19 years from our first school shooting, and it's still happening. So I think people need to start taking this shit a little more serious and realizing that mental health is not a game. And a lot of these kids, you parents, if you watch this, you need to step it up and take your kid to counseling, get them a psychiatrist. If you notice anything different, they're getting bullied, you need to step up, go into the school, say something to the counselors, the teachers, the principals, and get that taken care of. And if it's at-home bullying, which I know that happens a lot from parents, I mean, you guys need to chill the fuck out and be good parents. Sorry for my language. I mean, this stuff just shouldn't be happening. I'm going to post up here the people who were unfortunately murdered in the Parkland shooting. Let's take a moment of silence for them. Alright guys, well, that's what I have for today. If you stayed with me, like, subscribe, comment, keep the algorithm going for the channel. This is about mental health. I didn't really want to get into school shootings, but I did. Hopefully schools, cities, the school board members take some action on this. Thank you.